Good morning. Welcome to First UU. My name is Millie. My pronouns are she and her. We have some announcements before we begin this morning. The Covenant Mission and Vision Task Force invites you to participate in a workshop focused on the mission and vision of First UU Church. The workshop will take place both at the church and virtually on Saturday, April 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It will be facilitated by Reverend Michelle Scott Huffman, and lunch will be hosted by the CMV Task Force. Are we all settled? I am. A sign-up form is available on the table on the east side of the sanctuary. And a link to the sign-up sheet is in this past Thursday's What's Up. The deadline to sign up is this coming Thursday, April 3rd, my birthday. Also, on April 5th, a silent march in support of our neighbors who are immigrants and refugees will begin at 10:30 a.m. from the South Street Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, 500 South Avenue, and proceed to the square. The rally on the square begins at 11:30 a.m., and you may join the event there if you are unable to march. Do not bring signs or chant while marching. Faith Voices of Southwest Missouri and NAACP Springfield are sponsoring this event. Indivisible of the Ozarks will be having a meet and greet this afternoon in the auditorium of the Library Center, 4653 South Campbell Avenue, from 4 to 6 p.m. Breakout sessions will start at 2 p.m., providing information about different teams with Indivisible. See Jerome. Jerome here? Okay. See Jerome's, I don't know how, for questions. Adam is currently looking for a new Dungeon and Dragons group to play with. He was thinking that others here at church might be interested in forming an intergenerational D&D group to play together. Plus, Adam is willing to supply food and beverages for everyone. It sounds like a lot of fun for everyone invited or involved. The pyramid of envelopes is on the wall in the main hallway. You can contribute to the Capital Fund General by selecting an envelope from the pyramid, inserting your donation into the envelope, and placing the envelope in the collection basket. This fundraiser will conclude on April 15th. Envelopes are labeled from $1 to $10,000, and all donations are appreciated. Our next friendly feast, a potluck meal on the first Sunday of each month, is next Sunday, April 6th. It will be hosted by Pastoral Care, and all are welcome to attend. If your group would like to host a friendly feast, please contact Roberta W. On Saturday, April 26th, Sounds Pretty Good Combo, Steve, raise your hand. We'll be playing danceable music from 7 to 9:30 p.m. on the lower level of this building. The charge is $10 per person at the door, with proceeds shared between the musicians and First UU. Please tell your friends, especially those who like to dance, about the event. There are flyers at the greeters table for you to hand out if you like. Let's look forward to a fun night with members of the congregation and people from the general public. As you complete your spring cleaning, please consider donating your items to the church garage sale in May. Donations will be accepted in late May. See Emily J. or Roberta W. if you'd like to help. Let us now center ourselves in this sacred time and space as Eva plays Be Thou My Vision, an Irish folk melody arranged by Bob Krogstad.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome you all this morning. My name is Rebecca Reynolds. I'm one of the extremely significant number of Beccas, Rebeccas, Beckys in this church. There's a whole bunch of us, but I'm one. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am a redhead of mature years. I'm wearing a yellowish dress with some green and kind of pink flowers on it today. I'm going to be one of your various service leaders. We're doing a divvy of different service leading tasks and responsibilities. We're glad that you're here. I see some unfamiliar faces. I see some faces that I saw last week, maybe saw 2 weeks ago. We are extremely pleased to have you with us. Please stay with us after the church service for coffee, tea, conversation. You're going to find people are going to want to walk up to you and introduce themselves and start telling you about this church. There's plenty of people here to visit with. Plenty of people tell you about all the different activities and things that we do here. I'm sure you'll find something interesting and something you might want to get involved in. But yeah, we are just very, very pleased to see you. We love guests. Pardon? Oh, okay. I'm hearing voices. I have to build a ball field. Thank you. I had to explain that joke to the last 6 people I told it to. Our chalice lighter today in the sanctuary is Ara. Did I say it right? Ara. I had a 50-50 shot. Ara will be lighting our chalice for us today. Our chalice lighting words this morning are The Blessings of Trust by Reverend Scott Taylor. We gather today to receive the blessings of trust. May the relationships in this room remind us we do not have to depend only on ourselves. May the quiet we share help us hear and renew our faith in that still small voice inside. May the music sung inspire us to hold tight to the restorative rhythms of the world. May the words offered remind us that we too have a voice, one that must be trusted and shared. With our hearts open, let us begin.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Good morning. I'm Lynn Schlunz and I use she, her, wearing pink today. The opening words are Trust the People by Adrienne Marie Brown. Lessons from the Emergent Strategy, Immersion New Orleans. Trust the people to move towards you and already feel like home. Trust the people to let you rest. Trust the people to do everything better than you could have imagined. Trust the people and they become trustworthy. Trust that the people are doing their work to trust themselves. Trust that each breach of trust can deepen trust or clarify boundaries. Trust the people who revel in pleasure after hard work. Trust the people who let children teach, remind us how to emote, be still, and laugh. Trust the people who see and hold your heart. Trust the people who listen to the whales. Trust the people and you will become trustworthy. Trust the people and show them your love. Trust the people. Our song for the month of March is Soon the Day Will Arrive, number 146 in the gray hymnal.
And you can stand if you like, or stay seated as you wish. Soon the day will arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Some have dreamed, some have died to make a bright tomorrow, and our children reigns in our hearts. Now the torch must be passed with new hope, not in sorrow, and a promise to make a new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me.
Good morning. I was just making sure one of the mini Rebeccas wasn't actually. You're here. Yes, right behind me. I'll be back. Right behind me.
Good morning. I am one of the other Beccas and I was late this morning, so they probably thought that I just wasn't going to show up for my portion. But one thing about being late is to see a full parking lot. So it is so amazing to see all these beautiful faces. So thank you for being here. And as the Becca said, we just love guests and we're so happy to have you here and everybody on Zoom too. So we are going to be reading, or I am going to be reading, Time for All Ages. So today we are exploring our theme through the lens of what it means to be trustworthy in our daily lives. So with that in mind, I want to share a special wisdom tale with you, a Chinese parable called The Empty Pot. Once upon a time in ancient China, there was an emperor who loved flowers more than anything else in the world. His palace was surrounded by magnificent gardens filled with the rarest and most beautiful plants. As he grew old, the emperor began to think about his successor. Unlike other rulers, he had no children, and so he decided to choose from among the children of the kingdom. One spring day, he invited all the young people of the land to come to the palace. He announced, "The time has come for me to choose the next emperor. I have a collection of flower seeds here. I will give one seed to each of you. The person who can show me their best in a year will succeed me as emperor." Excitement buzzed through the crowd as seeds were handed out. Among those who received a seed was a young boy named Chen, known throughout his village for his green thumb. With great excitement, Chen planted his seed in a pot filled with rich soil. He watered it every day and made sure it got plenty of sunlight. Weeks passed, but nothing sprouted from Chen's pot. Not a single shoot peeked out from the dark soil. Around the village, Chen heard tale of other pots overflowing with vibrant flowers. Embarrassed, he tried changing the soil, adjusting the amount of light and water, but nothing worked. A year passed and Chen's pot still held just soil. Finally, the day came to present the pot to the emperor. Holding his empty pot, Chen was really nervous. All around him, children whispered out, giggled, showing off their pots with stunning flowers of all colors. Chen felt tears sting his eyes. His father, seeing his distress, said gently, "You did your best, and your best is good enough to present to the emperor." With a heavy heart, Chen walked into the palace. When his turn came, he bowed and he presented his empty pot. The emperor's brows rose in surprise. "Why is your pot empty?" he asked. Chen swallowed hard and answered, "I planted the seed you gave me, and I tended to it every day, but it never sprouted." The emperor nodded, then turned to address the crowd. "I have made my decision," he declared. "The new emperor will be Chen." A gasp went through the crowd. Chen was astonished. But my pot is empty," he stammered. The emperor smiled and said, "I gave everybody boiled seeds, which would not grow. All of you, except Chen, have brought me pots with flowers. If you planted the seeds I gave you, they could not have grown." Chen was the only one honest enough to present me with an empty pot. The court erupted into applause as the truth sank in. The emperor continued, A great leader must have courage, integrity, and honesty. Chen demonstrated these qualities by being truthful despite the temptation to pretend otherwise. Chen became an emperor and ruled wisely. Under his reign, the kingdom prospered. He always kept the empty pot on his desk, reminding him and his advisors that honesty and integrity should be at the heart of all their actions. I love this story because it carries a powerful message about the courage it takes to be trustworthy and tell the truth. It also is an important reminder that we can trust people to be good, even when it's hard. So in the days and weeks ahead, may this story help all of us, kids and adults alike, to have the courage to tell the truth and to trust people to be good.
All right, try again. My name's Anna. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a white female, also wearing pink today, even though it's kind of dreary outside. I've got this week in UU history, the week of March 30th. John Albion Andrew was born on March 31st, 1818 in Windham, Maine. He was raised in the Orthodox Christianity of his times, but became Unitarian and a Transcendentalist while attending the Unitarian Church of the Disciples in Boston, which was under the leadership of James Freeman. A lawyer, Andrew visited prisons, took on many pro bono cases, and became an advocate of prison reform. He was an outspoken opponent of slavery, and he became governor of Massachusetts in 1860 and helped to found the 54th Massachusetts Regiment, which was the first African-American fighting unit. He died in 1867. Offering our gifts to support the work of building inclusive and just communities is one of the many ways that we live into justice and equity together. Some of us have much to give and some have little, and together it is enough. We are enough to work together for a world where every human can live into their best and most authentic self. Today is the fifth Sunday of this month, which means that we will be taking a collection for the Congregational Relief Fund. This fund has been quietly helping folks for many years. Givers and receivers, both groups benefit from the Congregational Relief Fund. All the cash in today's basket will go to the CRF unless you want your cash to go towards your pledge. If so, place it into an envelope with your name on it. If your check is for the CRF, be sure to write CRF on the memo line. If electronic giving is your preferred method, or if you are on Zoom, virtual giving options are available via our website, springfielduu.org. The offertory today is Boree by J.S. Bach, performed by John and Eva.
Good morning. I am Reverend Michelle Scott Huffman. My pronouns are she, her. I am a middle-aged woman of, I think, maybe average height with short spiky hair, wearing plaid as I typically do. Glad you're here today and glad to be wrapping up this month's conversation on living love through the practice of trust. Today, I want to think a little bit about how big a part trust plays in our daily lives in ways that sort of operate under the surface that we sometimes don't acknowledge. And I want to encourage us to acknowledge some of those ways that things that we sort of trust in our subconscious works out for us, because I think that can provide some solid ground when we're in a space where there are things that we have come to trust over our lives and they are not functioning in trustworthy ways. So I'll start with a story. Once upon a time, in a quiet house at the edge of a small town, a woman named May stirred from her sleep. The first thing she noticed was the soft light pressing through the curtains, the fulfillment of a gentle promise. The night had indeed passed. She trusted the sun. It had risen again, just as it always did. May stretched, feeling the familiar ache in her shoulders. She swung her legs over the side of the bed, placing her feet on the floor, and trusted the ground beneath her to hold steady as she stood. Making her way to the kitchen, she reached for the kettle, filling it with water. As she set it on the stove and turned the knob, she trusted the fire that flared to light beneath the kettle, ready to warm the water for her morning tea. While waiting, May picked up her phone to check the time. A message from her best friend lit up the screen. "Thinking of you today. Hope you woke up well." She smiled and trusted friendship, the quiet, constant presence of those who loved her, even from afar. She stepped outside to grab the morning paper because she's one of the 26% of US adults who still get their news in print, and took a deep breath. The air smelled of damp earth and pine. She trusted the seasons to turn as they always had, carrying the world forward in an endless rhythm of change. Back inside, the kettle whistled. She poured the hot water over tea leaves and let them steep, watching the steam curl. She trusted time, knowing that patience would bring out the richest flavors. As she sipped, she opened a well-worn book, the one she always reached for in uncertain moments. The words met her like an old friend. She trusted stories, their ability to hold wisdom, to remind her who she was, to keep her company when the world felt too large. A bird landed on the windowsill, tilting its head as if observing her morning ritual. She trusted wild things, creatures that lived by instinct, never overthinking, simply being. A knock at the door startled her. When she opened it, her neighbor, Mr. Ellis, stood there with a small basket. "Baked too many muffins," he said gruffly, handing them over. She trusted kindness, the small, unexpected gestures that made life softer. As she sat back down, she exhaled, settling into the day. Everything she had trusted in this first hour had brought her here, whole and ready. In that first hour, May had trusted the sun to rise, the ground to hold her, the fire to warm her water, friendship to sustain her, the seasons to change, time to do its work, stories to guide her, nature to continue in its wisdom, kindness to appear unexpectedly, and herself to wake, to begin again, and to trust another day. Imagine the number of things that she will then trust in the next 15 or 16 hours while she's still awake. Now imagine that same morning, but without trust. May woke to the sunlight filtering through her curtains, but instead of feeling reassured, she felt uncertain. What if today was the day the sun didn't rise? What if that day were tomorrow or next week or next month? The thought lodged in her chest like a stone. She hesitated before getting out of bed, staring at the floor. What if the floorboards gave way beneath her weight? The room, so familiar the night before, now feels precarious. When she finally stands, it is with hesitation, as if the world might suddenly shift beneath her. In the kitchen, she reached for the kettle but hesitated. What if the stove malfunctioned? What if fire couldn't be trusted today? She drank cold water instead, the absence of warmth making her shiver. Her phone buzzed with a message from her best friend. She stared at the words but felt no comfort. What if they didn't really mean it? What if their love was temporary, conditional? She put the phone down without replying. Outside, the air smelled of earth and pine, but instead of trusting the seasons, she wondered, what if the world is shifting in ways she didn't understand? What if nothing is predictable? She left the kettle untouched and skipped her tea. Steeping required time, and time could not be trusted. She reached for her favorite book, but felt a sudden wave of doubt. What if the stories that once brought her comfort were no longer true? What if they never had been? The words on the page blurred as she closed the book and set it aside. A bird landed on the windowsill, but instead of marveling at its presence, she tensed. Is it safe to trust wild things? Could nature still be relied upon, or was it all just a fragile illusion? Then came the knock at the door. Her neighbor, Mr. Ellis, stood there with a basket. Bake too many muffins, he said, but May hesitated. What if the muffins weren't safe? What if kindness was a trick? She forced a polite nod, but did not take one. As she sat back down, she felt heavy, adrift. Without trust, the morning had not settled her. It had only unsettled her further. Everything that might have brought her peace had instead become a source of doubt. The contrast between trust and the absence of it reshapes the same morning into either groundedness and peace or groundlessness and anxiety. And those of us who struggle with anxiety, which I suspect is more of us than the percentage of people who take the news by print anymore, can probably agree that we certainly don't need our days to begin with groundlessness. The day itself will bring plenty to be anxious about. But the reality is, the more things that we know we can trust, and the more we acknowledge their trustworthiness, the less likely we are to succumb to anxiety and despair. Science confirms what May's two mornings illustrate. Trust shapes our mental and emotional well-being in profound ways. Research in neuroscience has found that trust is not only a social and psychological experience, but a biological one. Oxytocin, which some have called the trust hormone, plays a key role in social bonding, reducing fear, and fostering cooperation. When we trust, we release oxytocin, which in turn lowers stress and increases our ability to connect with others. In a study published in Neuron, researchers found that oxytocin shapes the neural circuitry of trust and adapts trust behavior in humans, meaning that trust isn't just a feeling, it's physically embedded in our brains, influencing how we interact with the world around us. Paul Zak, in his Harvard Business Review article, The Neuroscience of Trust, explains, when leaders foster a culture of trust, employees are more productive, have more energy at work, collaborate better with colleagues, and stay with their organizations longer. They also suffer less chronic stress and are happier with their lives. If trust can shape a workplace in this way, Imagine what it can do for our daily communal lives, our communities, our spiritual well-being as individuals and as groups. Trust is a biological foundation for resilience, connection, and hope. And when we practice trust, we create the conditions for a life that is not just functional, but flourishing. Unitarian Universalism calls us into a faith that is built not on rigid doctrine, but on a deep trust. Trust in human dignity, in the interdependent web of life, and in the ongoing search for truth and meaning. At its core, UU spirituality invites us to trust in the unfolding of life, even when certainty is elusive. We trust that love is stronger than hate, that justice bends toward wholeness, and that even in uncertainty, there is wisdom to be found. Our beloved UU principles reflect this trust. We affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, trusting that each of us carries sacred light within. We affirm the interconnectedness of all existence, trusting that our lives are woven together in ways we cannot always see. We affirm the democratic process, trusting in collective wisdom and shared responsibility. This trust is not passive, but active. It calls us to show up, to practice love, to seek justice, to extend kindness. It invites us to trust not only in life, but in ourselves, in one another, and in the possibilities that emerge when we choose to live with open hearts. When we identify and acknowledge how deeply trust is ingrained in our daily rituals, and how, in spite of the current chaos that we might be living through, more of what we trust remains trustworthy than not, we can step out with boldness and courage to confront that which has become untrustworthy, or that which has always been untrustworthy. And we can know that others will be there to work alongside us for a trustworthy world where we and all beings truly can flourish. Because we don't start our day overwhelmed with hopelessness and doubt and despair, but we start our day recognizing all of the ways that we have been held up to that point, the way that the sun did indeed rise again, and the ground did indeed hold us when we put feet on it. When we can trust in those things and so many more, then we can put the real energy that we have into building trust in the places where it has been broken. To trust is to affirm that this life, this moment, this path is worth walking together. It paves a way for gratitude and opens us up to energy and resources that we might otherwise spend on fear and doubt. To highlight that truth, I'll close with these words from John O'Donohue in his piece, A Morning Offering. I bless the night that nourished my heart to set the ghosts of longing free into the flow and figure of dream that went to harvest from the dark, bread for the hunger no one sees. All that is eternal in me welcomes the wonder of this day, the field of brightness it creates, offering time for each thing to arise and illuminate. I place on the altar of dawn the quiet loyalty of breath, the tent of thought where I shelter, waves of desire I am sure to, and all beauty drawn to the eye. May my mind come alive today to the invisible geography that invites me to new frontiers, to break the dead shell of yesterdays, to risk being disturbed and changed. May I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. The interlude today is Sheep May Safely Graze by J.S. Bach, played by Eva.
Good morning. My name is Stacia. My pronouns are she and her. I'm wearing a flowered shirt this morning. Seems appropriate to rain and springtime and things starting to bloom. I'm a member of the Pastoral Care Circle. And Reverend Michelle's sermon this morning reminded me of an experience I had earlier this week when I found it, I was upset about something, I don't remember what, and I found a tune going through my head. And it was the chorus of Soon the Day Will Arrive, the hymn that we've been singing all month. So wait and see, what a world there can be was reassuring to me this week. As a community, we share joys and concerns to keep connected. Slips of paper are available on the greeters table for those in the sanctuary to use for joys and concerns. During the week, you may send your joys and concerns by email to pastoralcare@springfielduu.org or by leaving a voicemail on the church phone 417-883-3922. And if you're on Zoom, please use the chat box now for sharing your joys and concerns. All of our joys and concerns will be included in the members' email on Tuesday. We honor each joy or concern with a lighted candle, a symbol of the love we as a community offer for each of these joys and concerns. This morning, Era will be lighting the candles. And now, as we begin this time of sharing, know that though we are in multiple physical spaces, we are together in beloved community. To begin, we hold in love all of us, those present and those absent. We light a candle for our church community. Mike Brown says that his granddaughter Emerson received the results from her ACT exam last week. She scored 36, a perfect score. We light a candle of celebration for Mike and his granddaughter Emerson. The Garden Committee, Barbara and Emmy, offer a huge thank you to everyone who helped pick up sticks and branches on the church grounds. We light a candle of appreciation for all of those picker-uppers and for Emmy and Barbara. Rebecca and Paul share that their granddaughter Piper was notified that there will be a seal of biliteracy on her high school diploma in May. A seal of biliteracy is a credential recognizing a student's proficiency in 2 or more languages. Piper passed a comprehensive American Sign Language test. That is a candle of appreciation for hard work. And on the chat, a concern from the Crespo family. Rebecca Crespo is having surgery tomorrow. We hope it goes well and that it will be in the last of a series of surgeries over the last 6 months. We light a candle of concern and support for Rebecca and family. We honor the complex and heartbreaking struggles of our world. We light a candle for all who are impacted, thinking, for instance, of the earthquakes this week. In closing, for those joys and concerns which remain unspoken, we light a candle. May we hold each of these joys and concerns in our hearts and minds. May our community of love ease sorrow and boost celebration. In this month's small group packet, the Soul Matters team writes, we need our faith communities to restore our faith that life is ultimately a friend. We need the reassurance that when we fail, we can count on being picked up. Sharing our joys and concerns here together helps us to remember that there are friends all around who will pick us up. And now let us join together in 1 minute of shared silence, followed by Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the heart, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Adam, I think you can remove Dacia's spotlight. Which is a little tricky because I told Adam to spotlight two things during the joys and concerns today. So thank you for that. Speaking of Dacia and spotlights, I want to share a joy for the 16 to 20-ish people who join us every week on Zoom, even though they're not able to be here in person with us, and for the fact that we learned in pandemic times that those people could still be contributing leaders to our services. So I deeply appreciate when we get to hear voices from the Zoomverse, so that we don't forget that those 16 or 20 folks are here and an important part of our community. Yeah, that's not at all what I'm supposed to say right now. So let's find out what that is. Our closing words today are Wild Waters by Chad Snyder. These waters, they never stay calm, not for long, because they are teeming with the stuff of life. The energy of our being washes over and around us. Let us brace each other when we need to stand against those currents. And let us hold hands when what we need is to relax into the waves, riding them together. Our final hymn today is Winds Be Still. It's number 83 in the gray hymnal. Feel free to stand if you'd like and sing.
Be still, storm clouds pass and silence come. Peace grace this time with harmony. Fly, bird of hope, and shine, light of love, and in calm let all find tranquility. Bird fly high, lift our gaze toward distant view. Help us to sense life's mystery. Fly high and far and lead us to see how we move through the winds of eternity. Light shining, illuminate our inward view. Help us to see with clarity. Shine bright and true, so we may join our songs in new sounds that become shrill symphony.
as our chalice extinguisher makes her way forward, remind you to gather for coffee, conversation, chat, get to know someone you don't already know. Two other things I want to remind you of. Please do sign up over there for the Mission and Vision workshop. I understand there are other important things happening that day, and those important things are going to be happening a lot for an extended period of time. And this is important to the life of our church. So please join us. Last thing, our shutdown of the Crisis Cold Weather Shelter today and moving all that stuff will happen at 1. Meet us at the Fairbanks if you'd like to help. And now we extinguish our personal and communal chalices and close with our unison sending words, which will be on the screens. Our service here is ending. Our service to the world begins anew. Go in peace, friends.